Hello guys and welcome to another video. So we're back at the old bookshelf and today we are celebrating this channel reaching 13,000 subscribers. I'm a bit sick but my eyeliner looked so good today that I just had to film. And of course I wanted to give you guys a huge thank you for getting this channel this far. I wanted to do a little Q&A to celebrate this milestone, and if you look at this playlist I made of different Q&As that I've done over the years celebrating different channel milestones, you might notice that there's no celebration for reaching the 12,000 subscriber mark. And why is that? Well, I told you if we got to that milestone, then I was going to watch and react to Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, the movie. I didn't feel like it, so I didn't do it. I just didn't feel like it. So if that's a video you would like to see, please let me know by giving this video a big thumbs up and I'll make sure to make that happen before we get to our next milestone. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. Starting off strong, we have what was the one book that really got you into reading? Some of you might think that it was the Percy Jackson series, but something happened a little bit before that. I was actually quite a big reader. I read all of Jerónimo Stilton and Dea Stilton, but that was just because my friends read them, so I was like, I am not missing out on this. I also really like the Smurfs comics. I got addicted to those. After that, I changed schools in 7th grade, which meant I did not pick up a single book during that year. Very sad. Very sad also that if my friends weren't doing it, I was just not interested. After that huge dry spell, I changed schools again and I moved to England, went to an international school, and I didn't pick up reading either until my friend took me to watch The Hunger Games with her. Right after watching that, I was like, I like this Katniss girl, but you know who I really love? This Peter fella. And then my friend was like, his name is Peter? And I was like, okay, do I care? Just give me the book. And I read them super fast and I fell in love with reading. So to answer your question, it was The Hunger Games, the first book, obviously. Congrats, you're one of my favorite YouTubers. I will never get either used to hearing that or tired of hearing that. Question number 1, favorite person. Recently, I've been going through a lot of change in my life. Not necessarily good change or change that I wanted in any way, shape, or form, but these things happen with age and it totally sucks. So that is to say that I've been feeling very supported and loved by my family recently. They're the ones that are always there for me. So right now, my favorite people are my family, specifically my older sister. She's been like a rock. A story you want to tell but haven't had the chance. I feel like I talk a lot on my channel and a lot about myself and Percy Jackson. So there's not like one story that I feel like I want to tell. Do I want to tell a story about what's happening right now in my life? No, but I might write a book about it someday because I cannot even believe what is happening to me like friendship-wise right now. So a book might be coming in the future to process all those emotions. Favorite word. For a while there, I was obsessed with the word awesome. There's really not another word for awesome in other languages. One of the words I say most in Spanish are obviamente and madre mía. And I also say Dios mío a lot, so I enjoy all of those. I also feel like yeehaw is a very interesting word that not enough people appreciate for what it is. Which memory would you use for patronus? I wouldn't say I'm severely depressed, but I am very, very sad. So it's hard to pinpoint a moment that I would choose because a lot of the moments that I would have chosen a couple of months ago are now like tainted in my brain. So they were very happy moments, but it saddens me now to think about them. But I am going on a trip to New Zealand with most of my family at the end of this year, so I'm hoping to make some Patronus-worthy memories. The song that has been in your head recently. I have been coping with all of my sadness through music and it has been super cathartic, and I've been listening to a lot of things, but Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift just speak to me right now. Mirror Ball, My Tears Ricochet, Get Him Back, Obsessed. Do you like Bubbles? Are you referring to the physical Bubble or to Bubbles, the original character from Lilo and Stitch? The answer is yes to both. How was your day? Today was pretty good. I mean, obviously I'm sick and I can't hear anything. I can taste a little bit. My nose has been running all day. Runny, and my throat kind of hurts. but I'm wearing a very cool fit. I love my earrings, my eyeliner toned out perfectly. I went to Costco with my mom, which was a lot of fun, and I decided I'm not gonna work today. I'll just deal with the consequences tomorrow. Pretty good. And then this person asks, why is it in Spanish? Congrats for the 13K. I'm guessing they're referring to this announcement that I posted, and that is because my channel, for me, is in Spanish, because my Google is in Spanish, because let's see if you are you still with me? Because I am Spanish. So that's the connection. I speak Spanish quite clearly. I also speak English. I hope that makes sense. It does. I'm just being a girl about it. Opinion on Dark Percy theory. My opinion is that it's a theory that exists. It's a trope that a lot of people would want to see. It's not something that I would want to see just because I know that Percy doesn't like Dark Percy. Annabeth doesn't like Dark Percy. But most importantly, Percy doesn't like Dark Percy. So I wouldn't want to force him to go to there just to satisfy some people's, you know, tropes. Love that. Kinks? Nah. And I don't like my characters dark. I like them light and if anything a little bit gray. I don't like my favorite characters who are good to be corrupted. Because if it's Cass Brecker, then yeah, just rip an eye out of someone's eye socket. I'm cool with that. I even think that's pretty romantic. I wouldn't want Percy doing that. Next up, we have favorite Riordanverse book and why. If you haven't been following my saga of rereading every single Percy Jackson and the Olympians book, what are you doing with your life? I'll leave those videos up there, but if you watch them, it's pretty clear which my favorite book is. I won't spoil it, go watch it for yourself. But in regards to favorites and ranking of the books, I have been thinking about doing another tier ranking of every single Percy Jackson verse or Riordanverse book out there. I'm thinking maybe after the show has come out, I'm gonna make a definitive one because we've gotten a lot of new content and I feel like I don't necessarily agree with this other video that I made on the same topic. So let me know if you would want to watch that video from me. Come on, I'm waiting. Let me know. Huzzah. Huzzah! Tonight we shall feast on the finest meats and taste the sweetest wines in celebration. I don't drink, but I will have a smoothie. Which god should I offer a portion to beside Athena? I'm interested in the Athena comment. Why is that? Am I a child of Athena? Or should we just offer it just because to Athena? I'm cool with offering it to Athena though. I'm unclaimed demigod. I'm claimed simply because I'm indecisive and I could not choose who I want my godly parent to be. Obviously, the first time I read it, I wanted it to be Poseidon because I'm basic. I actually truly love the sea and the ocean and water. I could be a daughter of Poseidon, but I feel like it's too late now. It's too basic of a choice. People will look at me differently if I say I'm a daughter of Poseidon. Ironically, it also doesn't really work with my age. So let's just offer them to everyone except Zeus and Hera. Then we've finally gotten to the infamous question that I get in all of my Q&As. If you could save one Percy Jackson character, who would it be? Normally it's the other way around. Normally people want me to kill characters, but this time I'm saving one. Deaths in most books and in most stories serve a narrative purpose. You know, whether it's to push the hero to do something that they weren't willing to do before or to move some character arc along. It typically has a reason besides devastating the reader, although that's a plus for most authors. So there's a lot of deaths that I don't really want to touch because it would change the whole story. Having said that, I'm about to completely contradict myself because the first death that I thought of rewriting, and I think this goes without saying, but spoiler warning, I was thinking about Bianca. I think that girl deserves a chance to prove herself. Her story and her death was very important to move Nico's story along, and she's just a typical fridged woman. Having said that, I wish she hadn't died because I think she could have been such a cool character, and it would really be interesting to see who Nico would be today if Bianca hadn't, you know, died. I'm gonna keep spoiling character deaths, so if you don't want to see what characters die maybe in series, skip to the next question. Go on. Leave. So I was thinking maybe Jason as well, but I don't really care. I honestly wish Leo hadn't died because he technically did die. I was also thinking Octavian. It was a very dark moment for Nico to just let him die. So I think maybe if Octavian had lived, we could have seen him work towards redemption. And I think that would have been interesting because it's so typical for villains to do villainous things and then they just get killed off. No redemption needed. It's interesting to see what would happen if they had to face the consequences of their own actions, and if they would eventually decide to try to be better people and to right their wrongs. That's something I would like to see instead of, you know, just dead villains everywhere. I do not like him, but he was a 16-year-old boy, so maybe he could have been better. If you could change one thing from Rick Riordan's series, what would you change? Well, I'm gonna say Heroes of Olympus as a whole, specifically the timeline. Things should have had more time to breathe, not just like 1 year, but we didn't even see the whole year, so not just like a couple months. And I'm gonna say not everyone ending up romantically together. So don't give us 7 people and 3.5 ships. I don't want that. Or at least make them end up together in the last book, not in their first books together. Jeez. Okay, so this person here hitting me with an impossible question: which character outside of the Riordanverse would you ship Percy with? My immediate thought was to ship him with Lydia from Teen Wolf, because Styles and Lydia have a bit of Percabeth energy, so it would make sense to ship them together, but at the same time, I don't think so. Percy Jackson is my absolute favorite character of all time, and I take shipping very seriously, so I don't know if there's anyone that I could see myself shipping him with besides Annabeth. Even in canon, even in the Percy Jackson universe, I mean, there's definitely no one there that I would rather ship him with, besides Grover, but that's completely platonic for me. It needs to be someone who's strong-willed, who is smart, and who is stubborn and very proud. So yes, I'm looking for someone who is very much alike to Annabeth. People say that Annabeth and Hermione are very, very alike, but I just don't see it. Besides them being smart and a little bit stubborn, they are very, very difficult. Like, maybe the basics are a bit alike, but anything other than that, completely different characters. Quite honestly, I can't think of anyone that I'm 100% happy with, so I'm just gonna say myself. Oh, if you could only change one thing in the Heroes of Olympus, what would you change? I feel like I just said it, even though it was 2 things. I did just say it. So I'm gonna change Piper. I'm gonna make her into a cooler character who is not in love with Jason, at least not from the beginning, turning her from a girl boss into a boss girl. Like Boss Baby, but better. Congrats. What are your most favorite books besides the Percy Jackson books? Most of my most favorite books are right behind me, specifically on this shelf, because these two, I really like them, but this one's mostly eye candy. The Carry On trilogy has meant a lot to me throughout my life. The first time I read the first book, I was like, this is good, but this is not amazing. And then I reread it as my friend was reading it for the first time. I was like, well, now this is going to be all my personality. Obviously, I love Six of Crows so much that I have the first duology twice. I enjoy the other books in that universe, but just not as much. I just like having them together. I also love this trilogy when I first read it, the Illuminate trilogy, and I really enjoyed reading this one like the 3 times I've read them. They were good. They were real good. Going back to the Hunger Games, I reread that last summer. Super enjoyed that. I think it's a great book series, like epic, incredible. Peeta just holds up. He's just so good, and the ship is the best, and the story is really good up until book 2. You should definitely read that. In terms of standalones, I really like Red, White, and Royal Blue. There must be something else, right, that I like? And My Mechanical Romance is one that I read last year that I absolutely fell in love with. I do have a video about my top 10 favorite series. I probably need to update, but you can go watch that if you want. Congrats! What do you think Rick's next book will be? So we technically know what his next book will be, because he did announce that we're getting a second Chalice of the Bogs, a second Chalice of the Gods book called the Three-Faced Goddess about Hecate, I believe. But besides that, I do think that in the future we might get a book surrounding the road trip that Percy, Grover, and Annabeth take from New York to New Rome, and along the way they find out about a certain person's death. I think that would be awesome, and I need it, and I want it. I don't think we're getting a second Solangelo book, though. Then, this impossible question. What was your least favorite ship of all time? I thought, when I screenshotted this question, that I would not have an answer. But as I was reading it, one came to mind. A lot of you don't know this about me because it's my dark past. This feels so hard to admit on camera. I was in the Voltron fandom, yes, from 2016 to 2019, 2020, through the span of 8 seasons and a lot of drama, I was in the fandom, and I was, maybe still am, a hardcore clans shipper. If you're into fandom at all, you know that that's my red flag, and I own it. No, I'm actually super embarrassed. So clans is Keefe and Lance. Lance was my favorite character. Keefe was his enemy, his rival, but only in his mind, which is the perfect and exact recipe for my ship. I'm not gonna spoil how it ended, but it was complete tragedy. A lot of people didn't like clans, and a lot of people shipped Keefe with Shiro, who was like an older brother canonically, not biologically, but emotionally, he was like an older brother to him, which Keefe mentioned in the show. But there were a lot of shippers of that, and at the time of the shipping, Keefe was underage, Shiro was like 20-something, so, you know, not the best. I hated it so much. You know, mostly because I shipped clans, but at the same time, Sheath was just absolute hot garbage, so that didn't help either. Another ship that I really hate right now, Buffy and Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I'm binging right now with my cousin and my brother. Angel is just so broody, so angsty, and such like a box shape, and he's so old, and he calls people Buffy's age kids, and it's just wrong, man. It's just wrong. I also really hate, okay, so now I have a lot of candidates. Who knew that I was an auntie? I also really despise when people ship Lily Evans and Snape. It was obsession, and he was a terrible person. So, no. Lily and Harry, no, Lily and James forever. Okay, so I'm a big shipper and an even bigger auntie than I anticipated, so I'll give you 2 more for the road. I absolutely despise Styles with Malia from Teen Wolf. That should not have existed. I would rather see Styles be single than Styles be forced into a relationship so he can move on from Lydia. No siree. And I really don't like Bakugo and Deku from My Hero Academia. I think it's toxic. Obviously, I think that as friends, their relationship is now way healthier than it was at the beginning, and I could see their potential from the start, but you can't have a romantic relationship with someone who seriously bullied you when you were little and who told you to go kill yourself and meant it. It just so happens that most of my anti-ships are because I ship one of the people with someone else, but I think that has nothing to do with it. I'm gonna move on because I could stay here forever. So I've answered this whole question and I wasn't filming, so I don't know if I should just punish you for my mistake and not say it again, or if I should say it again. Do you think Annabeth and Percy should have had more trauma after Tartarus? That was the prompt. We have no clue how much trauma they had after Tartarus because we did see them before and during Tartarus, but we didn't get to see them from their perspectives after Tartarus, because as we all know, Blood of Olympus, everyone's favorite book, doesn't have Percy and Annabeth centered chapters. We don't have their points of views, so we don't know how they process their trauma and how much of it there was. We know a little bit of Annabeth's because she talked to Piper in one of her chapters, and we know that Percy obviously still has some trauma left over from almost drowning in Chalice of the Gods. That is not trauma from Tartarus. We do get a little bit of their scene in The Sun and the Stars, but honestly, not much. So I think they have just the right amount of trauma. We just haven't seen it because Blood of Olympus sucks. This is a fun one. If you had the opportunity to go on a dangerous quest with 2 other demigods, who would you choose and why? And if you had to fight to the death against one of the 7 heroes of the Heroes of Olympus, who would you fight and why? So I've been thinking about this one ever since I saw the question, and I think I've gotten a very good pair to go with me on a quest. So obviously I will want Percy Jackson because he has the big 3 qualities I look for in a man. He has a sword, water powers, and sarcasm. What else could I need in a quest partner? Besides that, and besides me feeling like we would vibe very well, I would want Talia Grace to be my other quest partner. Would this be very chaotic? Yes, it would be, and that's exactly why I would want her with us. So we have water covered, we have air covered, so we could basically go anywhere and be fine. We have defensive and offensive strategy, and we have 2 very well-trained and experienced demigods. On top of that, Talia can kind of control the mist. She can control it enough to make mortals think what she wants them to think. On top of that, she is currently a hunter of Artemis, So she is extra powerful slash immortal. My personality is quite similar to the both of them, but also a bit similar to Annabeth. So I think I would be the perfect glue and the perfect balance of their personalities, and we would all make it out alive. I would love to see that. Rick, get on that story. So who would I want to fight to the death from Heroes of Olympus? My first thought was Frank, but honestly, I don't think he's the weakest. I have ranked the Heroes of Olympus characters before, power-wise, so go watch that video and let me know how wrong I am, because everyone else already has. Frank was just like a knee-jerk reaction. My other thought was Hazel, and then I thought I could not fight any of these heroes without dying, because they're so much more powerful than I am as a person. Obviously, I'm on the same level as Annabeth, power-wise, without counting any weapons, because she has her intellect, but I have mine. But I think Annabeth is ruthless enough that she would kill me. So I was thinking I have to trick someone into thinking I'm defenseless and that fighting me is not the best option. So I think the person I could most convince of that is Jason Grace, because towards the end he did want to see the best in people and he wanted to be a good person and blah 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 blah. So I think I could take Jason on in a fight just because I believe that I could double cross him in the end, make him believe that I'm a weak little victim, and then stab him in the back, which I would not be too proud of, but there's just no other way for me to take on any of the 7. Like, be realistic. Maybe I could take on Octavian, but even he has been trained in Camp Jupiter. Who could I take on? Katie Gardner? Maybe, if I take her by surprise. Selena? Maybe, but Clarice is always around. I don't think I could realistically, me being immortal, take on any of them. I could take on Rachel, but she's a fiery person, so maybe she would kill me. So, I don't know. I'm not even convinced I could take on Sally Jackson at this point. What's your favorite all-time book character? Also, congrats. Thank you, Ray Sparse Animations. Thank you. I'm gonna be boring and say that it's Percy Jackson. Who could have guessed? I also really love Cass Brecker and Inej Gaffa from Six of Crows. I love Nikolai. I love Soyana Zielinski. She's my favorite character from the last duology. Oh, I love Simon Snow and Bass from the Simon Snow trilogy, the Carry On trilogy. I also love Nick Nelson from Heartstopper. Leo Valdez was a very hot favorite for me for a while there. Richard Gangsey III from the Raven Boys. Can't wait for those graphic novels. That's what I'm gonna go with. I can't think of any more. I have sick brain right now. Like, my brain is mush. So anything from this point forward, I apologize for. Especially to editing me. I'm sorry, you have to sit through this. Next up, we have a bunch of questions, so let's go through them. Congrats, you totally deserve it. Thank you. Another one, thank you. Do you ship any 2 Riordanverse characters who are not canonically dating? If so, who are they? Shipping something that is not canon takes a lot out of me. It's very hard. It takes a lot of hard work, love, and dedication, and reading of fanfics and looking for fan art that probably is very hard to come by. So I don't typically do this unless I really love both characters. So I really enjoy Jason and Brick. That's obviously the one that people say the most, and it's just very near and dear to my heart. But if I had to pick something that involved 2 actual human beings, I would say that I would be cool with Rick modifying the script to season 4 and 5 a bit to show that maybe Clarice and Selena have something else going on, because them having the Achilles and Patroclus storyline is fruity AF. If you could replace any of the 7 from Heroes of Olympus with another character, who would you replace and which character would take their place? I actually did a whole bunch of videos dedicated to this question. How would I, a person with 0 writing experience, rewrite the Heroes of Olympus to make it better? So there's a video specifically for this one where I changed who the 7 are. Go watch that video and then let me know how wrong I am in the comments. I'm okay, guys, I'm okay. If you could write a book solely about Percabeth, what would it be about? Would they go on a quest? Who is the villain? That's a lot of responsibility you're putting on me, specifically because I haven't read a Percabeth fanfic in so long that I don't know what tropes we're going with these days. Literally, my first thought to this question was I wouldn't write a book solely about Percabeth, because I know there's a book solely about Solangelo, but they deserved it because we hadn't gotten Solangelo before in big doses. But we have so much Percabeth content, and I feel like although they are very good, I like seeing them with other people around as well. So obviously Percabeth always has to be a thing for me, and I love getting to see moments one-on-one or them having moments with other people around. But I think Percabeth just wins and gains so much from having characters like Grover around or Talia around. I just want to see more from the trio, and yes, this is me just wanting more like the Chalice of the Gods. I have a whole video dedicated to that book. You have to read the book and watch that video because it has changed everything. My answer would be that I don't want a book solely about Percabeth, but if we were to have one, I would want it to be, let's say, their first year of New Rome, seeing them overcome those challenges. But I much rather read a book about the road trip that they take with Grover from New York to New Rome and how they found out about a certain person's death along the way. Who is your favorite underrated character in the Riordanverse? If you know me at all, you know that I never like underrated characters. Just because it's not that I dislike them, is that I focus all of my energy on my favorite character, and my favorite character always happens to be the protagonist. I don't know what it is about me, but if there's a guy protagonist who is smart, but at the same time, he is very dumb, he is most likely athletic, and he is kind of a himbo, but not that dumb. He's just a bit dense. He's very sarcastic. He's very smart for just like very specific things. He can be trustworthy, but at the same time, he's kind of a mess, but he's always there when you need him to be there. He's very funny. He is unapologetic, and yeah, I'm describing every shonen main character, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. Edward, Elric, Percy, Jackson, Styles from Teen Wolf, they're all my favorite characters, and if you know them, you can take any show, movie, or book that I've seen or watched, and you can pinpoint who my favorite character is. I'm basic. All that to say that I don't typically gravitate towards underrated characters. I like Reyna, but I don't think she's underrated. Honestly, I can't answer this. Maybe Magnus is underrated. I love Magnus Chase. Are you done reading the Keeper of the Lost City series? Yes, I am. I don't know at what point in this video I have a huge rant about it. Look forward to that if it hasn't come up yet. If you have, like I said in earlier, I would strongly suggest that you should check out the False Prince series. It's an amazing series that really needs more attention and love. Also love your channel, keep doing what you love, and thank you for being my favorite YouTuber. Thank you for being my favorite subscriber. So I had to look that series up to check that I hadn't in fact read it already, because there's a lot of series with Prince in the title and I get confused. So I have in fact not read it yet, so please let me know what it's about down in the comments and how many people think I should read it. I might read it, honestly. Your last suggestion, despite its flaws, was pretty good. Parabéns! Okay, so we have a Portuguese speaker here in the comments. Bom dia! Congratulations, you are one of my favorite YouTubers nowadays. That means so much. Honestly, I'm not even my family's favorite YouTuber, so that means a lot. What's your favorite Percabeth moment, including the new book? This is an impossible question. I have known and loved Percabeth for literally over 10 years. That's over a decade. I have read about 15 books where they show up, countless fanfics, countless fan art. How am I supposed to choose one specific moment? I can give you a specific moment from each book if you want. We can do that. So from The Lightning Thief, obviously I love Because You're My Friend, Seaweed Brain. Any more stupid questions? From The Sea of Monsters, I adore when Annabeth wants to go all of Odysseus, but then she jumps off the ship into the water. Percy has to wrangle her to get her under control. He forms a bubble around her. He sees what she wants. She just wants stability. She wants to build a better world for them with Luke in it. And she just like sobs uncontrollably. And Percy holds her. And I love that. I also love when they're riding the hippocampi, the water horses, back to camp. And he's like, oh, you're very smart, or like, thank you or something. That's also very good. From The Titans Curse, you might think there's not a lot to choose from, but man, oh man, there's a lot to choose from. So how do I pick? Like, no, okay, I know. So I love the moment where Annabeth is like, you never thought I was dead? And Percy's like, not for a minute. I knew in my heart that you were alive. And that's very nice. I also love how the book ends, or semi-ends, with them dancing at Olympus. And it's kind of bittersweet, but also there's like a bit of optimism to that before things go quickly downhill in the Battle of the Labyrinth. Battle of the Labyrinth, the obvious choice would be to get the Percabeth first kiss and like the volcano. And obviously, I get that. The Forge is very romantic. I love to see it. I also love the Annabeth just giving a eulogy at Percy's funeral and being like, he was the bravest friend I've ever had, and he's right there. Also the fact that they were kind of going on a movie date before they got interrupted by both an explosion and Rachel Elizabeth there. But I have to say that this is kind of masochistic of me. I love that at the end of the book, Percy and Annabeth are both in Camp Half-Blood, but it both really hurts Percy to be with her and to not be with her. And that's where we see the extent of Percy's feelings for Annabeth. And I just love that because we've seen him. He's matured, but he's just very confused, very overwhelmed. Then we have the last Olympian, and oh my god, do I have a number of moments to choose from. How do I choose? I really love Annabeth seeing Percy for the first time after he's bathed in the river Styx and just being confused because he's looking at her different, because obviously in the river Styx, he finds out finally that he's in love with Annabeth. That moment, that hallucination that he has at the Styx, I love it. It killed me. Then during the battle, Percy being like, don't I get a kiss for good luck? It's kind of a tradition, huh? And Annabeth being like, well, let's both survive this, and then we'll see, Seaward Brain. And then, obviously, Annabeth blocking a knife for Percy, and Percy being like, back up, nobody touches her. And then, them being left alone, and Annabeth, like, and Percy telling Annabeth where his weak spot is, and her touching it, and him feeling like a current all over his body. And she's like, oh, you're cute when you're worried. Woo! Obviously, later on at the end of the book, we have the moment before the lake. Do you have something to say to me, Seaweed Brain? You would probably kick my butt. You know I'd kick your butt. Yes, I have issues. I had that whole scene memorized, and then it was the best underwater kiss of all time. Then we have no Percabeth moments in The Lost Hero, which is shit. We just have Annabeth being very worried and looking for Percy, which I guess counts as one. Then in The Son of Neptune, just Percy remembering Annabeth. Every time he thinks about her, you can just tell how in love he is with her. Then in Mark of Athena, I really love Annabeth waking Percy up to go to the stables and then falling asleep. It's so wholesome. Also, their cute little date in Italy is incredible. Oh wait, I just remembered Annabeth throwing the dagger into the sea and Percy just coming out of the water, spraying Octavian and the other Romans into the water, and just with a nonchalant face being like, you dropped this? Annabeth saying I love you for the first time, and then saying it again as we fall into Tartarus. And then in House of Hades, just any single Tartarus scene is devastating, but obviously it's also like very rewarding. I don't remember any specific ones. Maybe them falling into the river that makes you despair, and Annabeth being like, tell me about New Rome, about the future you had dreamt for us. Obviously Blood of Olympus, a huge letdown. We don't have any chapters from them, but we do have a Piper chapter where they go to where the feud started between their parents, and Percy's like, the rivalry ends here, wise girl, and he kisses her for like a very long amount of time, and Piper's like feeling uncomfortable at this point, and then he says, I love you for the first time, so I can't be mad. I really can't. Also, in Blood of Olympus, we get Nico telling Percy that he's not his type, and Annabeth being like, yeah, high five, dude. But obviously them agreeing to go to Camp Jupiter together, to go to New Rome together, that's obviously very nice as well. We also have one Percabeth moment in Magnus Chase number 3, but I'm not gonna really count that because I don't remember. They were on a ship and they kissed, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna stop talking about Percabeth now because I feel like I could talk about it forever. But in Chalice of the Gods, my favorite moment has got to be once Percy has the staff of Iris. He teleports there and he's like, hello, Earthlings. And he has a message to give to Annabeth, and it's, I love you. That part murdered me. I'm still grieving. Congratulations, it's amazing seeing you grow your channel. Thank you. It's been quite a painful process, but we've made it. Favorite Taylor album and song? Obviously, here I have what is possibly her best album, objectively, Folklore changed my life. It didn't, but at the same time it did. My favorite album from Percy, from Taylor Swift has to be Lover. But in order for you to understand that, I have to give you my story with Taylor Swift. So ever since the beginning, my older sister, has been a Swiftie. So I grew up with the music. All those first 4 albums were part of my childhood. Once she disappeared from the world, I was like, well, that's fine. And then Reputation came out, and I was like, well, now I don't like Taylor Swift because I don't like this music at all. You know, an opinion that I mostly stand by to this day because it's just not my style of music. I like a couple of songs from that album, they're bangers, but the rest is just not for me. But after that, in 2019, Lover came out. I was like, I'm gonna give this a chance, even though I didn't like me that much, and You Need to Calm Down was okay. I'm gonna listen to it all. And when I reached the man, I was like, we might have something here. And oh my god, I love Lover, and it has a very special place in my heart because it made me fall in love with Taylor Swift. And ever since then, I've been a huge Swiftie, caring about Taylor Swift both as an artist and as a person. And she is such a good songwriter, people. I'm gonna give you my top 3. It's Lover, Folklore, and Red, Taylor's version. My favorite song has to be All Too Well, 10-minute version. Right now, I'm really loving Enchanted, and anytime something like Debut comes on, I'm like, Invisible String, Betty, No Body, No Crime. They're all great, honestly. Death by a Thousand Cuts is exactly what's happening to me right now this month, so I'm really feeling that one. Are you going to cosplay more characters? I don't know. Should I? Let me know who I should cosplay down in the comments below, because I feel like I've cosplayed almost everyone in the Rick Riordan books from like the main 2 series. Like, okay, these 2, fine, not everyone, but most main characters in these 2 series I have done. I am planning on making a video where I talk about these books, like all of the books, and I thought I might dress up as Rick Riordan, so let me know what you think about that idea. And how is life going on right now? Family-wise, it's great. Friendship-wise, I'm really going through it, and I'm very lost, and I'm feeling like I shouldn't be feeling this at 24 years old. I know it's probably more common than I think, but I'm really going through it, not really having a very good time right now. So I'm just trying to keep moving forward and stay optimistic. It's fine. Next up, we have congratulations on the achievement, and here's to many more. Are you excited for the release of Murtagh? Honestly, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I just know that Murtagh is a character in the Outlander series. Pretty sure you're not referring to that. I've just done a little bit of research, and it looks like it's a new book in the Eragon series. I never read Eragon. I'm gonna say something that's gonna make you mad. I watched the movie, and I kind of liked it just because the dragon was pretty and it was cool, but I never really loved it. But yeah, let me know if I should read Eragon, because I feel like that ship has sailed, but maybe now is the perfect time to get back into the fandom, or into the fandom in the first place. Okay, we have a huge rapid fire round now. I'll be here for the day you hit 100,000, haha, but seriously, congratulations. I would like to see that day. Maybe when I'm 200 years old, I will reach that number. Who is your least favorite character of all time? So that I recall right now, I don't like Angel, like, anymore. He had a couple of good moments, but Angel from Buffy, after season 2, he's like, ugh, toss him out. I don't like him. Whenever someone asks me a question of my favorites or least favorites, all ideas go out my brain and it goes blank. Favorite dessert? Now I love this question. I love dessert. I love eating and baking desserts. My favorite cake of all time has got to be cheesecake. Cheesecake, New York style cheesecake, and specifically cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. The one with strawberries and whipped cream is, oh, I wish we had Cheesecake Factory in Spain, because not having that for my birthday is honestly a crime. I love cinnamon rolls as well. I love roscón de reyes, which is a very Spanish thing. I love rosquillas, donuts. I love all kinds of breads. This is making me so hungry. Give me something to eat. Apple pie, blueberry pie, cherry pie. Ice cream is also great. I've been really liking froyo lately because I have a subscription. I'm gonna eat, but not right now. Sunset or sunrise? Sunsets are very pretty, but sunrises feel more special to me because you're not usually awake during sunrise, so seeing one is more of like an event. And also it symbolizes like a new start, a new beginning, and everything is quiet, everything is calm and serene during sunrise because everyone's still asleep. Fitz or Keefe, there is no competition. My favorite one is... You're just gonna have to find out when I make the 2-hour-long video about the series. Favorite Keeper of the Lost Cities book. Now, I think that is something that I can disclose. Definitely not number 1. I think maybe number 4, 5, or 6, or 9. The ones with in them. Wait, no, spoilers. The ones not number 1, that's all I can tell you. If you were in the Hunger Games world, which district would you be in? I'm just gonna say number 3 or 4, which is the one with the water. I'm just gonna say that one. I like salt and I like seafood. So that's the one I would want to eat from. What weapon would you choose and what do you think your training score would be? Another Hunger Games. I would choose throwing axes, like little ones that look like shurikens that don't have a handle, because I went to an axe throwing thing a couple months ago with my family and I wasn't very good at throwing normal axes, but the small ones I was super good at, and they're very lightweight and you can have like a lot of them. So I would choose that. You can also hunt with those. They were very fun. And my training score would probably be like a 7 or an 8. It depends how long I've trained for this in this world. You're the first booktuber I ever watched, and you're seriously the reason I started my own channel. I've been watching since around 2,000 subscribers, and it's so cool to see you grow. I love your sense of humor, and you deserve a lot more subscribers. I watch a lot of other booktubers, but you definitely bring me the most comfort. Thank you. It feels a bit weird reading it on camera because, like, yes, I'm like applauding myself. I just wanted you to know that I read all of the comments, and when I say all, I mean all. It really means a lot. Thank you. Now we have a balance game. Percy Jackson and the Olympians or 6 of Crows. What's my name? At least what's my channel name? So it's gonna be Percy Jackson and the Olympians, but 6 of Crows is very close. If you had said Heroes of Olympus or 6 of Crows, it would be 6 of Crows all the way. Heartstopper or Red, White, and Royal Blue? This is a hard one. If we're talking movies, even if we're talking movies, I don't know if I know my answer. I have loved Heartstopper for longer. The characters in Red, White, and Royal Blue affect me more each time I read them, just because it's a bit of a more mature story with higher stakes. So this one just feels like a good warm hug. The other one feels like a roller coaster ride on drugs. Peter Malark or Nikolai Landstov. I love Nikolai, and I love Nikolai with Soya. Peter Malark is just the best male character there is. Obviously not counting Percy. Okay, he's the best male love interest out there without being the protagonist. I said it. He's just so good. He's such a good person, such a good friend, such a good boyfriend, just so good in general. But he's not boring. He's funny. He's charismatic. He has it all. Gale is an who should have died instead of Finnick. The Sun and the Star or Chalice of the Gods. That is so unfair, but not to me. To the Sun and the Star. It's obviously the Chalice of the Gods all the way. I didn't notice how low the bar was in my mind for any new Rick Riordan book until I read Chalice of the Gods after reading The Sun and the Star, because I really enjoyed The Sun and the Star because my expectations were so low. The Chalice of the Gods, my expectations were very low. They were, you know, neutral. Then I read it and it changed my life forever. So I think that the fact that it was co-written kind of contributed to the fact that it was a 4-star read for me instead of a 5-star read. Add on to this the fact that Rick knows Percy and Annabeth and Grover better than he will ever know Nick and Will. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me. The nostalgia. Hebe is very right about capitalizing on people's nostalgia. It's just the way to go. Who got you into the Percy Jackson and the Olympians book universe? Who got you to read the books? This is a question I've gotten 100 times, even in this very video. So go watch this video. But who got me into it? The real answer is Birch Bug. But an also true answer might be my sister, but don't give her too much credit for that. Birch deserves all the credit. But before that, I guess in a very roundabout way, my friend McKenna, because she made me read The Hunger Games, go watch the video, it'll explain that. So since I've already talked about favorite books and book series, what is your favorite anime on manga? I love this question! Looking over there, because that's where my shelf is, I have Full Metal Alchemist. When talking anime, I'm talking about Brotherhood version. That is probably my favorite manga slash anime of all time. Realistically, like objectively, I know that's the best. Then we have haiku, an anime that got me through the last 2 years of high school, and I feel like I would have been a lot more depressed if I hadn't had that to get me through it. I also really love the manga. I definitely like it more than the anime, and I'm just so excited for it to be coming out in Spain. I love the lovely complex manga, the Aoharu Ride, Orange manga, Kimetsu no Yaiba, things like that. For a while I was really into Boku no Hero Academia, mostly because of one specific ship. How old am I? How old am I? I want to know. Pause. Let me know how old you think I am, because I want to be offended down in my own comment section. How old do you think I am? I'll give you a little bit of time. Okay, it's obviously just 2 numbers, so you've had time to think this through. I am 24, turning 25 this year, 2023. What flavor is your toothpaste? Let me check. This is it. It's seen better days. It's basically flat right now, but I'm squeezing every single drop that I can out of this because I'm going to get my money's worth. I didn't pay for this, but I want to get my money's worth. It's triple action, cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. Double mint flavor. So you can imagine how my breath smells now. I hope you're happy. Your hot take on the most recent books. Do you mean Percy Jackson Wise? If you do, I feel like I've talked about that enough. And you don't specify, so I'm just going to guess on the most recent books in the universe. My hot take is going to be about the Keeper of the Lost City books, because that is who you've turned me into. I started reading the books in the summer because you guys just wanted me to read them because they're so like the Percy Jackson books, which, by the way, here's another hot take, they aren't at all, like maybe a little bit, just based on the fact that they're middle school and fantasy, but that is it. But my hot take is that you made me read those books and I didn't want to spoil myself, so I didn't look at how many there were. I just assumed, like a damn fool, that they were all out, that the whole series was finished, it was done, it was all published, it was all released, and I could just binge all of them. Imagine my surprise when I get to book number 9 after reading 10 books, because I did read the extra book that there is, the companion novel. I read 10 books and I'm like, okay, officially book number 10. When or where is it? Where's book number 10? Okay. It's not released yet. Not only has it not been released, it doesn't have a release date. So here I am after binging 9 books that range from 200 pages to 700 pages without a final book in the series. Honestly, I'm just thanking my lucky stars that I didn't start reading this book before book 9 was published, because imagine reading book 8 and then reading book 8.5 and ending on that letter from Keefe and not having anything else to read. I would have died. I would not have made it. I would not have made it. But yes, my beef is with Shannon Messenger. I know you can't write a book having like 2 babies at home and just do it in 1 second. I don't need you to write it in 1 second. Take your time. I just need you to give me a release date so I don't have a heart attack or a nervous breakdown. Please just give me a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I've made it this far. Just get me through. And I don't care that you're publishing a graphic novel. Nobody does. Just give us the deets about the new book. This hot take leads me to create a new rule that I didn't know we need for this channel. And that is, if you recommend a book series to me, let me know if it's finished or not finished, because if it's not finished, then I don't want to invest in it yet, because I'm a mood reader and I love reading things all in one go if it's in the same series. So if it's not finished, either don't recommend it to me or let me know it's not finished, and that way we won't have any problems. I won't have to go to your houses and beat you up for making me read 9 books and not have the 10th book. Who is your favorite and least favorite character from Heroes of Olympus? I'm gonna leave it up to you to decide given the information that I have presented today and throughout my whole career. Please let me know that in the comments below. If you get it wrong, you will be banned from this channel forever, so it's high stakes. What's your favorite character from Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard? Mine is Alex, a very good choice indeed. Mine has to be Magnus. I relate to him, he's funny, he's a cinnamon roll, he has healing powers, he is the opposite of toxic masculinity. Do you think the Trials of Apollo is a necessary series? This is very interesting because most series, to be honest, are unnecessary. You know, it's fiction, so it's just like entertainment. And if you have a book series, a book universe with several series, I would say that, you know, the only necessary one is the first one, and then you just adding on because authors sometimes cannot stop themselves. But I would say it's an unnecessary series. It's a very interesting character study about Apollo, and I love his character, and his character arc is incredible, incredibly crafted. Honestly, Rick Riordan, I applaud you for that one. Was it necessary? No. In terms of necessary, I don't think the Heroes of Olympus was necessary either. I think it actually ruined a little bit of what the ending of Percy Jackson and the Olympians was. I think probably the most necessary series are Percy Jackson, King Chronicles, and Magnus Chase. We didn't need more than that. Do I love that we have more than that? Yes, especially because we get a lot of representations starting Heroes of Olympus. It's not necessarily necessary to the plot. If you could be any Percy Jackson and the Olympians characters, who would you be? How did you get into Percy Jackson and the Olympians? Let's go part by part. If I could be, does that mean I have their life and their memories, but I'm my own person and I'm the only one who knows I'm suddenly them, like a Freaky Friday kind of thing? Or am I them? Am I truly them? Do I absorb their personality into my everyday lives? So do I go into the book world and take over, or does Percy come over and take over my life? That's your answer. I would be Percy. I can kind of also see being Annabeth, just to be Percy's girlfriend, or being Grover in order to be Percy's best friend, which is what I've always wanted to be. I'm going insane by this point in the video. Watch at your own risk. What's your opinion on the, I don't know how to pronounce that, books, but I know what books you're talking about? My opinion is that you should definitely be over 18 when you read them. They're not necessarily the best books, but they will get you addicted. And it got me addicted to the point that I'm buying all of them. Not all of them. The one with the mentor-mentee, no, 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 no. So I do really like Heaven's Official Blessing. I think that ship is so wholesome, and god damn it, there's a lot of trauma in there. Oh my god. One of those books was super hard to get through without crying. And Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation is forever iconic. There are some things that I censor in my brain. I'm like, this is not canon. No, 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 no. This is not what they were feeling. This is not what they were saying. But other than that, be over 18. If you're into fandom culture, you'll understand it. If not, it's not for you. Read a description before you read it. It's not for everyone. But I'm obsessive, so it is for me. I've already been filming for an hour. I'm scared. I'm sorry editing me. I'm sorry I really played you on this one. Do you think you'll ever do a video in Spanish, even if for no other reason than just for fun? Given the fact that most of my fan base are English speakers, either from the United States, Great Britain, India, Australia, and Canada, I don't think it would be fair for me to alienate such a big part of my fan base, not subscriber base, just to do a video in Spanish. I can speak in Spanish sometimes if you want. The closest thing that you're probably gonna get to this in the near future is watching this video I did interviewing random people in the street about Percy Jackson and asking them basic Percy Jackson trivia questions. I live in Spain, so the people I met are Spanish and talking Spanish. They answered in English, but there is some Spanish sprinkled in throughout the video. So if you want some Spanish content from me, either go watch that or ask for some Spanish specific content in the comments. I have no clue what that could look like, but if you have any idea, please let me know. Veamos la próxima pregunta. I feel like I can't even take myself seriously after speaking in English for an hour. My Spanish voice sounds fake to me. A por todas. A por la próxima. I change personalities with language. How did you get into Percy Jackson and the Olympians? I think that you're well equipped to answer this question by now. What is your favorite Riordanverse book? I'm sorry you were this far. Well, it's already been answered. Another rapid fire, baby. Which Percy Jackson character do you think is most underrated versus overrated? Underrated, I'm gonna say Annabeth, just because I know there's a lot of Annabeth haters out there and overrated. Leo Valdez. There, I said it. I'm the first Leo Valdez lover out there, okay? Or at least I was. But he's overrated. Oh, maybe he's underrated now. I don't know. I can't keep up with the kids. Maybe also Nico. I feel like he deserves the hype. He's a lot of people's favorite. Which Percy Jackson character don't you like but most of the fandom do? I'm inclined to say any one of the 7 that's not Leo. Obviously, besides Percy and Annabeth. I'm not in love with Hazel or Frank or Jason or Piper. I think they could have been done better, and they're better as not main characters. Not everyone is meant to be a main character. Jason, that goes to you. If you were to pick between PGO, HOO, or TOA, which would you pick? I couldn't answer my own question, Lon. I could. It's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Boom. The easiest question you could have ever asked me. And then it would be Heroes of Olympus, just because I like the characters better. I don't like Meg. There we go. That's someone that I don't like. That most of the fandom does, I think. I don't like her. She's annoying. I feel like Rick forgot what a 12-year-old was like when he wrote her. Unpopular opinion, Percy's trauma is overlooked. Agree or disagree? It's not Percy's trauma. I feel like everyone's trauma is basically overlooked until Chalice of the Gods in the latest books where we're opening up more about mental health. Obviously, there's a part in Chalice of the Gods where Percy's like, we were all shell-shocked, but we all knew that we were going to be okay. We just needed to process what had happened by ourselves. So that's a good line that I really appreciated having in there, because they're kids. He's not 18 yet, and he's been through so many life or death situations. He's had to save the world twice. He has a lot of trauma, but I feel like with every book we're dealing with it. It's just not a focal point of the books. So I feel like even in the books, behind the scenes, he's working through it and they're addressing it. Like Percy, Annabeth, and Groover obviously had their thing going on. I think that they support each other and love each other and help each other through those episodes. Do you think more characters should have died in Heroes of Olympus? Probably. Honestly, Frank, with the whole life stick thing, he could have died pretty easily. And Leo could have canonically died as well. What is your favorite Apollo haiku? I'll have to go with dreams like a podcast, downloading truth into my ears. They tell me cool stuff. It's also the only one I've had memorized because I acted it out in one of my Learn the Alphabet with Percy Jackson or whatever that video is called. If you had to choose one character from the Riordanverse to bring back to life, who would it be? I've already answered this. Woman Loki or man Loki? Based on the 2 main characters that we have in season 1 of Loki, I haven't seen season 2, so no spoilers. Based on those, I would have to say man Loki. I hate the fact that they could be in a romantic relationship. That is like the grossest thing I've ever seen. It's not, I've seen much grosser things in the same level as incest, so no bueno. Do you think that Percy should have freed Calypso to right his wrong? No, I don't think so, because honestly, Calypso is an eternal woman. She's not a damsel in distress that needs saving from this 16-year-old boy, and she did side with her parents in the war, so I think she got what was coming to her and then she was saved. So no, Percy didn't have to do that. I think he tried. You know, it was one of the conditions he set for the gods, and the gods said, we're not doing it. So it wasn't up to Percy to keep tabs on what they were doing. He already made the world so much better for half-bloods everywhere. And honestly, yeah, she's in a prison, but she's in literal paradise. She has servants, she has magic, she has anything she could ever want except company, which she does have from time to time, so I don't know why she's complaining. Chalice of the Gods' best moments. I have a whole ass video about this. This question hurts. Can you please do a collab with your friends and talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians? That would be so much fun. This is my comfort channel. Obviously, that last part really means a lot to me. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Who are you to assume that I have friends? Who are you to assume that I have friends who have read Percy Jackson and the Olympians and who are willing to talk about it for a YouTube video with a camera in front of their faces? The easiest person for me to collab with is my younger brother. So if you want to see more from him, you know, the person who everyone always tells me who looks like Percy, who looks like Nico, blah, 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 blah. If you want to see more of him for whatever reason, let me know and maybe we'll coerce him into filming more videos with me. Okay, so I've answered most of these questions, but did you stop reading the Riordanverse for a while and then catch up later in life? Or have you kept up with every book as it came out? I think the first time I read Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, was in 2012. And then after that, I read every single book as it was published up to today. So there has been no stopping me. I've just been up to date ever since 2012, which at that moment didn't feel like that much, but right now it's like 10 years, so I'm pretty pleased with myself. I'm gonna die. That's the last one. I want to cry. I'm so hungry. I'm gonna go eat. You don't go. You still have one question from the other me who's sitting right there. Go enjoy that last question while I go have some food because I'm dying. Goodbye. For now, you still don't go. I'm leaving. You're staying. Bye. Not you. Rapid fire. What is the saddest book you've ever read? One of the latest books that I've read that made me feel so many emotions were the Aristotle and Dante Discover the Universe. What is it? Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. And then the second one, Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World. I feel like that second book was so much sadder. It changed my life. Not really, but in the moment it felt like it was changing my brain chemistry. So go read those books. They're incredible. It made me rethink every single decision I've ever made and the way I think about life. What age rating would you give The Song of Achilles? The only time I've read this book was in like my second or third year of college, so I was either 19 or 20 a while ago. I don't remember how explicit it is, so I'm just gonna say, to be safe, 18 plus, 16 or 17, at least 17, I would say. There's probably an age rating somewhere out there. I'm not a very good guideline. Thoughts on the Percy Jackson cast for the TV show? I feel like I've talked about this extensively. I'm not going to sit here and tell you straight to your face that I didn't want a black-haired, green-eyed Percy Jackson. I'm not gonna be that person because up till a few years ago, I was a purist. I was an adaptation purist, and if the hair was slightly wrong, I was like, no. Mostly with Percy Jackson because I've always been okay with the changes they made to Harry Potter just because I watched all the movies before reading all the books. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie to your face and say that I didn't want it to be accurate because I did want it to be accurate. But then when it wasn't, I found it in myself to be okay with it because what does it change? The series is still going to come out. The script is going to be the same. Rick is still going to be the one who does it. Rick says he's very proud of them. Rick says they're the best options, and Rick has brought up to this point. So who am I to say that that's not the right cast? I'm no one. So I think it's gonna be a great cast. Rick says it's great. Becky says it's great. So I am going to go over there open-minded on December 20th. From what I've seen, they're doing a great job and the three of them are extremely cute. So honestly, I'm very excited. They are not what I pictured, like any of them, but I'm still really looking forward to it. I think they're gonna do a great job and we have to trust Rick. So trust in him I shall. Do I still think that they could have dyed Walker's hair black and had Leah had like blonde extensions? Yeah, I do think so. But I also really enjoy seeing fan art of them as they are, so you win some, you lose some. It's been 24 years. I finally made it to the end. Can't believe this is happening. I thought I would be here forever. Honestly, this is my fault. I could pick the questions that I want to answer, but I'm always like, I have to answer all of them. I'm not even a big YouTuber. I didn't get that many questions. I got caught up in the Percabeth question. Sorry. So please leave a like if you like this video. Comment down below if you think that I should react to the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief movie and the Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters movie, which we all like to pretend wasn't even made. Subscribe if you haven't already and click that bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. I post videos just like this, except a little bit less chaotic, maybe, probably not, every single Friday, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Bye!